Hello everyone, welcome to day 2 of my Fluffy Squirrel class to go. This is the Fluffy Squirrel Bundle. It is such an adorable punch bundle. I had so much fun making cards with this one. This week I'm showing you 4 fun fold cards that you can earn free for my class to go. To qualify for the class to go, you just need to place an order between September 1st and September 15th. The order needs to be a $50 minimum, before tax and shipping, and after any Stampin' rewards that you might apply to your order. So make sure that you are placing your orders by September 15th if you want to get this Fluffy Squirrel Bundle for free. The Fluffy Squirrel, or not the bundle for free, I'm sorry, the class to go featuring the bundle. If you don't have this Fluffy Squirrel Bundle, you can add it to your order, or you can substitute anything else that you have. If you don't have the Fluffy Squirrel Bundle, it is in the mini catalog that just launched this month. It is super adorable, and so make sure you grab that. It's on page 49. Okay, let's get started. I need to pull my cart around real quick just so I have a place to set stuff. All right, now yesterday, if you guys tuned in for day 1, you saw the hot mess that was making this card. We made a lot of mistakes. We fixed them all to make a beautiful card in the end. And I showed you how to fix all those mistakes. But this card kind of twists open like this. It goes from a portrait card to a landscape card, which I absolutely love. That was yesterday's card. You can check out the video for that. That is on my YouTube channel and my blog. Today, we are making this easel card, this center easel card, so it pops up just like this to display ever so proudly on a desk or a mantle. You can still open it, write a fun little message in there. Super cute. One of my favorite cards of the week for sure, this one. So let's get started, and hopefully we'll have a few less mistakes than yesterday. Let's go ahead and get started with the stamping so that we can have all of that ready to go. Now, to speed up the video just a tiny bit, I did some of the stamping in advance. So I have both of my squirrels stamped already. I stamped them both in early espresso, and I have my 5 acorns stamped and ready to go too. Now, I did do a little bit of shading on here, but otherwise I used the same exact colors as yesterday. I used crumb cake for the bottom, pecan pie for the top, and just did a tiny bit of shading on these. We're going to do some additional stamping on these, and then we'll punch them out. I have already stamped the tiny little flower and colored that. I colored that with Pretty Peacock, Darling Duckling, and Petal Pink Stampin' Blends. This is a teeny tiny little flower. If you want to have them holding an acorn instead of a flower, by all means, you can absolutely do that. The acorn is easy to punch out. The flower, you do have to fussy cut, so you can customize that. You can even just leave that off if you don't want to have the flower. That's fine too. Okay, let's start with our greeting. I just have a skinny little piece of Pretty Peacock, and hopefully we can fit the greeting on that skinny little piece. In your kit, you'll receive a half sheet of Very Vanilla to do all of your stamping, and you'll do the stamping for this greeting on that half sheet as well, and then you'll just trim it out. So, can't wait to see you again. I'm just going to center this in my skinny little piece. The height, I believe I cut this one to about 3/8 of an inch, but you just want to make sure that it is 4 inches long to work on the card, but pretty good. We're going to go with that. Pretty good. I'm going to save good. All right, that is it for our Pretty Peacock ink. So I'm going to put that aside. We are going to use pecan pie ink for our squirrels. So let me grab that out, and we'll start with the squirrel. Now, there's 2 different squirrels in here. Now, this squirrel coordinates with the punch. This one we're going to have to fussy cut, okay? So we are going to stamp this one in pecan pie. This one I'm not going to stamp off. I want this one to be a little bit darker. We want our squirrels to look different. So I'm going to use the same ink for both of them, and just stamp one darker than the other. Okay. Super cute, right? Oh, so cute. All right, now for our other squirrel, we're going to bring this one in, and I'm going to stamp this one off on some scratch paper first. That's just going to give us a lighter shade to this squirrel, but everything is still going to coordinate because it's still the same ink, so everything will coordinate perfectly. All right, lovely. All right, I believe, oh, that's not all our stamping. I was going to say that's all our stamping, but we're going to jazz up our acorns a little bit. So grab some early espresso ink. Let me move these out of the way. And I'm going to grab that scratch paper again. I'm going to bring in my acorns. They're already stamped and colored. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So we're going to take that textured stamp set, that kind of grid stamp set, and I am only going to ink this just on the little corner here. I don't want a lot inked up, so I don't know if you can see, just a tiny bit is inked up, just a little bit. And I am going to then just stamp this right on top of the acorn, just like that. And that's going to give us like that texture that's on acorns. So just ink up that tiny little corner. And you can use any of the corners. It doesn't really matter. And then we're just going to ink just the top of the acorn. So, and if some of it goes outside the lines, that's okay. We're going to punch it out anyway. So it's okay if a little bit goes outside the lines. But we're just inking up that little corner just to make sure that we try to minimize outside the lines as much as possible. But isn't that fun texture just with that fun little stamp set? Just some strategic inking, and because they're photopolymer stamp sets, they're easy to ink up like that. All right, let's go ahead and close that, and we're going to grab our punch and let's punch out our squirrel and line this up just like that. Make sure your hands, oops, let me zoom back out, guys. You guys are like, wow, that's close. Make sure your hands are apart. Don't pinch the sides of your hands. Ask me how I know. I've done that far too often and it really hurts. All right, we're gonna line up the little acorns in here and we're just gonna go through and punch them. Just like that. Just line that up clearly. I can't talk at the same time. Now there's 5 of these for this card, so just the acorns are so easy to just stamp a line of and then just trim them and just run them through the punch just like this. It goes really quick. Okay, that's all for the punch. Let's clean up our mess. We'll get all our pieces of trash out of the way. We'll save our acorns, and I'm gonna grab my paper snips and we're gonna trim our little squirrel out. Normally I would do this in advance just to save time, but I wanted to just show you that it doesn't take long to trim her out or him out. And just some fussy cutting tips. So you want to use small sharp scissors and you want to stay in the center of the blade and turn your paper, not your scissors. I'm holding the scissors in my dominant hand and I am turning the paper with my non-dominant hand. And I'm keeping my scissors nice and straight. And every time I start to get toward the tip of my scissors, I reopen, readjust, just to make sure that you're staying in the center of that blade. The center of the blade is going to be the sharpest part of your scissors. And so if you want nice clean cuts, just make sure you're staying in the center of your blade. And we're almost there. So see, this didn't take long. And I'm just leaving a little bubble of vanilla on the outside, just like the punch would do. So they look totally similar, totally the same, they match. All right, I'm gonna grab my dark Petal Pink Stampin' Blend. This is optional. I'm just gonna color the insides of their ears, but that's totally optional. Okay, we are ready. Let's get these guys on dimensionals so they're ready to start adhering, and we'll put them off to the side. So dimensionals on the back of these, and we're gonna use little baby dimensionals, the mini dimensionals on the back of our acorns. So let's get these, we'll get the adhesive off so everything is ready to go. Get the backings off. And then we'll start assembling our whole card. But once this is all ready, everything will go very quickly. So little baby mini dimensionals on the back. Bear with me, this is like the longest part. It's gonna take me longer to add the dimensionals than it did to fussy cut that squirrel, guys. Like, that's how quick the fussy cutting goes. Okay. Let's keep adding this, and I just want to check, yeah, everything's on dimensionals, all the acorns. And we have one more acorn and then our greeting, and then we'll be done. So let me, so I'm out of mini dimensionals, so I'm just going to cut a little thin strip of the outside edge. We're going to use this for one of our dimensionals. I'll just trim a little corner for our acorn. Stick that down. And then we'll use the rest of this long piece for our greeting. Make sure you're using those dimensional edges. Those are the best part of the dimensionals. You don't want to miss those. And we're going to stick this piece on the greeting. Okay, there we go. Everything is all sticky. It's all off to the side so we don't mess it up. All right, let's talk about our card pieces. So I have a pretty peacock card base, and this one is scored. This is 8.5 by 5.5. It is scored at 4.25. And then on the front, I have cut flaps at 1 inch from either side. Okay, so it has like little legs. This center section is also scored at 2 1/8. So we're gonna burnish that one as well. Now this looks like a hot mess. You're like, what the heck did you do to that card? But don't worry. That's what's supposed to happen. It's okay. We're going to glue down. Let's bring in our example so we know what we're doing. We're actually going to glue down these little legs over here. So I'm going to take some adhesive. We're going to glue these down. And just line them up on the corners. It should all just like fold into place. It should be just fine. Okay. Now I have some DSP pieces. Thought I had DSP pieces. Oh my word. Please tell me that I cut those. I really thought I did. Oh, I did. They fell. Sorry. Hang on. Give me a sec. I knew I cut them. Okay. All right. I was about to have a little panic attack. All right. So I have DSP pieces from the, oh goodness. What is this DSP called? The Kintsugi Inspirations DSP. This is in our annual catalog. This DSP is, it's stunning. It coordinates with one of the suites in the annual catalog. Lots of gold accents on these. Just stunning, stunning DSP. So check that out. That's in our annual catalog, but it is gorgeous. So we're just going to use this Petal Pink pattern. So I have 2 skinny pieces. They're, I believe they're 4 by 3 3/4. But for all measurements, make sure to check the measurements in the video description or listed on my blog. They are always correct on my blog and then video description. Okay, we're going to just put these on those little legs that we glued down. We'll call them legs. All right, now I have a piece of Petal Pink and another piece of that same DSP. We're going to use that same DSP on this whole card. And we're just going to adhere this to our larger piece of Petal Pink. This is 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. And I think my DSP is trimmed incorrectly, so let me trim that. The DSP should be at 4. So I will make sure that all the measurements are correct in the video description. Again, so check all measurements there. Okay. That way the DSP measures 3 by 4. Okay, perfect. Isn't this pattern beautiful? I mean, it doesn't, again, this is one that doesn't have the gold accents on it, but it's just stunning. All right, we have another piece of Petal Pink and another piece of that DSP, and we are going to adhere this down right on it. And this is going to be the little piece that that pops up. Okay, just making sure that the measurements are correct. This is going to be the little piece that pops up our easel, just like this on the inside. Okay, perfect. So we are ready to go. Let's add some adhesive. We have another piece of Very Vanilla. This is going to go on the inside. So we're going to adhere this down, and then we're going to start putting everything down that goes on dimensionals that we've already put dimensionals on. So this piece goes right in the center. You have those 2 little legs glued down. This piece goes in the center. Let's build our little scene on this piece right here. So I'm going to start with my greeting, and that's just going to go right across the bottom, maybe like 1/2 inch, 5/8 of an inch from the bottom. Okay, we're going to put our little squirrels on, just right on top of the greeting. And I'm not going to press it too firmly yet, because if I need to move it around, I just want to make sure that both squirrels fit nicely before I press them down firmly. And I think that's good. So we're going to just press that down. We're going to put some of the acorns on. We're going to put one here. We're going to put one back here. And another one here. Okay. Now let's put our little flower on. We are not going to try to mess with dimensionals for this one because it is so tiny. You can use a glue dot for this. I'm just going to add a tiny dot of glue right to like the stem of the flower in the middle. And I'm going to use my tweezers. I don't use my tweezers a lot, but this little flower is so tiny. So I have just some reverse tweezers. I'm going to tuck it under the squirrel's paw there. I'm just going to push the squirrel paw down. And it's going to pick up on that glue. Again, you can use a glue dot if you want. And then our flower is going to be nice and secure once it's nice and dry. Okay, we're going to put dimensionals on this little piece that goes on the inside. So let me grab my dimensionals again. Just put a couple on here. And this piece goes right, oops, right on the inside here. This is going to go about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch up. You want to make sure that it's fitting perfectly in between those two pieces that we glued down, those little legs. When you close it, you don't want to be able to like see it hanging off. And when you open it, it's going to just use as a little stand here. So if this is a little bit long, then just go ahead and take some scissors or put in a paper trimmer and just trim this off just a little bit. Okay, but that is that piece. So we are ready to assemble our piece on the front. We're going to use dimensionals for this. Now, this is where you want to make sure that you're being very strategic with where you're putting your dimensionals, because if you put dimensionals all over the back of this and then you glue it down, then it's not going to work as an easel. So as you can see, we are only gluing this down to the bottom half of this easel piece here. And it's not going to go all the way to the bottom. There's going to be a little bit, there's going to be about 1/2 inch of border down here. So I'm not putting my dimensionals all the way to the bottom, but I am only putting dimensionals on the bottom half under that score line. Okay. Peel off all those dimensional backings. And then we will set this on just nice and straight, just like this. And that will pop up just like that. So adorable, right? Let's finish off this card with a few more little touches here. We're going to add a couple more of our acorns on the inside. You can stamp an inside greeting here. This doesn't leave you a whole lot of room to write, so if you don't really have a lot to say, you can. This is a good one to send to somebody. All right, we're going to use our Shades of Green Hexagons here. We're going to use this like pretty peacock color. And we're just going to add 3 of these to the front, some different sizes. There's small and larger ones. And these are gorgeous, gorgeous embellishments. And actually, I don't want that. Let's move this one up just a little bit. We'll put that in a different place. All right, and that is it for today's card, this fun easel card. I hope you guys love this card. Definitely one of my favorites of the week. I really love this card. It's so cute. And we got through this one mistake-free, guys. Hallelujah. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you want this class to go kit, make sure that you're placing an order in my online store. Minimum of $50 before taxes, shipping, and after any Stampin' Rewards discount by September 15th to get this class to go for free. All the details are in the video description, along with additional options at $100 and $150 where you can earn a few more extra things in your class to go kit. Make sure to subscribe to my channel so you never miss a video. I'll be back tomorrow with day 3 of the Fluffy Squirrel class to go. Have a great day, guys. Bye.